Thank you so very much, Maria Pia. I brought my book that the judge gave me. It's amazing. Of course, I'm very honored for the opportunity to be able to help put together this event. It's not about me, of course, it's about us. It's about coming together for our community to grasp this wonderful opportunity extended by President Biden and Secretary Granholm. Jose, I don't know what to say. I mean, you put me after the secretary, after the, the senator. What an act to follow. She's amazing. I would like to thank and recognize Secretary Granholm's senior advisor, Kate Gordon, Director Ron Pierce, who's here, DOE General Counsel Sam Walsh, and Director Shalonda Baker for working with me, with us, and for their invaluable support for this event. So I'm supposed to summarize the Department of Energy in something like 10 minutes. What? So I have some prepared remarks, and I'm going to try to stick with them as best as I can. And I think that there are some slides that are supposed to be coming onto the screen if the technical assistants can put them up. Oh, okay, wonderful. There it is. Okay. Thank you, Hispanics in Energy, President Perez, for this kind of invitation. I'm very grateful to Hispanics in Energy for the opportunity to share a little bit about the Department of Energy, which I call home, and where I get to do incredible and meaningful things. The Department of Energy has over 14,000 federal employees and over 95,000 contractor employees at the department's headquarters and 83 locations throughout the United States. It is headed by mine and many of yours awesome boss, Secretary Jennifer Granholm. But let's not forget, throughout its history, DOE has also been led by prominent Hispanics, including Secretaries Federico Peña and Bill Richardson. Not in order of priority, the Department of Energy is responsible for the U.S. nuclear weapons program, nuclear reactor program, production for the military, energy conservation, energy research, radioactive waste disposal, and domestic energy production and policy. The roots of the Department of Energy date back to the needs of World War II and the development of the atom bomb and the Manhattan Project, as we all know. Until the 1970s, when energy was cheap and abundant, the federal government played a very limited role in a national energy policy. Americans expected private industry to establish production, distribution, marketing, and pricing policies in the United States. But the energy crisis in the 70s led to the need for better coordination of energy policy and programs. So in 1977, so this is a relatively young department in comparison with others in the federal government, the creation of DOE brought most federal agency activities, federal energy activities under one umbrella and provided the framework for a comprehensive national energy plan. So while Nuclear Regulatory Commission maintained its responsibilities for long-term, for the nuclear regulation, long-term high-risk research and development of nuclear and other technology, federal power marketing, energy conservation, the nuclear weapons program, and the Central Energy Data Collection and Analysis Program came under DOE. Next slide, please. So on the screen, you now see the department's organizational chart. Clearly, too small to view in detail, but you can easily find it on the DOE website. But I put it up for the simple reason to show the complexity and number and sophistication in undersecretariats, agencies, and offices this department has to offer. I cannot possibly do justice to the department or its work or accomplishments in the very short time that I have. But my hope is to give you a bare glimpse, an appetizer, if you would, to pique your interest in learning more about what it is that we do and the opportunities DOE has to offer. I also hope that you will learn a lot more throughout the day, through the panels today, and that you will come back with questions, ideas, and proposals, such as Secretary Granholm has requested. But on the screen, you see the three larger boxes, one depicting the Office of the Undersecretary for Infrastructure, which we affectionately refer to in DOE jargon as S3. It is a new office created by Secretary Granholm, including to oversee the programs and activities under President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law, which the Secretary spoke about. It oversees the incredible work being done by, among others, the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations, the Grid Deployment Office, the Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains, the Office of State and Community Energy Programs, and the Loan Programs Office. The second box, large box that you see on the screen, mentions the Office of the Undersecretary of Science and Innovation, S2 in our vernacular. It houses offices such as the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Fossil Energy and Carbon Management, and Office of Science. There's a quiz on the way out, by the way. The large box to the extreme left mentions the Office of the Undersecretary for Nuclear Security and National Nuclear Security Administration, which oversees the very important nuclear functions of the department, which are critical to our nation. I urge you to please explore our websites, and Secretary mentioned one of them, to learn about the billions in opportunity funding Department of Energy is making available for projects and new technologies throughout various of the offices I just mentioned, including in new technologies such as hydrogen and new battery technology. You should be and will be learning more throughout the day, including from Latino and other leaders from a number of the offices on that org chart. Next slide, please. Now, the DOE is traditionally considered a science and technology organization. It sponsors more physical science research than any other U.S. federal agency, the majority of which is conducted through our system of national laboratories, which you see depicted on the map. For over 70 years, the Energy Department's 17 labs, the crown jewels of the nation's research and development ecosystem, have tackled the critical scientific challenges of our time, from combating climate change to discovering the origins of our universe. They possess unique instruments and facilities, many of which are found nowhere else in the world. The national labs do amazing things that have transformed our understanding of the universe and our everyday way of living. The accomplishments are way too numerous for me to spell out, but just a very bare tip of the iceberg, I can mention the following. Decoding DNA to identify a map of all the genes of the human genome. Kickstarting the web in the United States by installing the first web server in North America. Revolutionizing medical diagnostics and treatments through nuclear medicine. Mapping the universe, including the dark side of the moon. Confirming the Big Bang and discovering dark energy. Discovering 22 of the elements in the periodic table. Identifying good versus bad cholesterol. Enabling space exploration in Mars. Making 3D printing 10 times larger and 200 times faster. I'm going to skip through a few. Launching the LED lighting revolution and advancing fusion technology and achieving fusion ignition, which we all heard the Secretary announce here a few months ago, which is amazing. And it brings us closer to the possibility of zero carbon, abundant fusion energy power for our society. Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is one of the labs that you see on there, launched the world's most powerful and smartest scientific supercomputer with a peak performance of 200,000 trillion calculations per second. I can't even imagine that number. Now, so it's amazing what our labs do. But now I'd like to mention, lastly, a few of DOE's recent accomplishments over the past year or so. Number one, protecting global energy security. So in the wake of the invasion of Ukraine in February, DOE jumped into action to support our allies and partners in Europe while working to stabilize the global oil market and offer relief to Americans facing high gas prices, including releasing 190 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which the DOE administers. Gasoline is now nearly $2 cheaper than it was at its June 2022 peak, and it hasn't been this low since June of 2021. So DOE is working to address damage to Ukraine's electricity grid, and in December, we delivered the first shipments of electrical equipment. We are helping to implement the Inflation Reduction Act, which the Secretary spoke about. The Chips and Science Act, which is the brains the Secretary spoke about. We are helping to implement the bipartisan infrastructure law. And in November, we celebrated the one-year anniversary of it. Highlights include approval of EV charging plans for 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico by DOE and DOT's Joint Office of Energy and Transportation. Applications opened for a new $7 billion program to create between 6 and 10 regional clean energy hydrogen hubs in the United States. $2.8 billion in battery manufacturing grants are being awarded as we speak. And in 2022, our Loan Programs Office is making loans, has made loans, and is still continuing to make loans, which are advantageous to business to advance clean energy projects under its authority that exceeds $400 billion, including recently lending billions to build the construction of new battery cell facilities in the United States to support the domestic EV industry. Next slide, please. The last, but certainly not the least achievement I want to mention, and I have the privilege of working with the Secretary on these efforts, is our commitment to Puerto Rico. In February, DOE joined the Departments of Homeland Security and HUD, along with the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, to enhance collaboration and kickstart what we call the PR 100 study, which is a community-driven, locally tailored roadmap to help Puerto Rico meet its target of 100% renewable energy, improve power sector resiliency, and increase access to more affordable energy and cleaner air. Following Hurricane Fiona, the Biden-Harris administration doubled down on this effort with the creation of the Puerto Rico Grid Modernization and Recovery Team, led by DOE, to help identify and overcome impediments to the deployment of clean energy on the island. And since then, the Secretary has traveled 3 times to the island, with additional visits expected throughout 2023. The initial PR 100 study report was released just a few weeks ago. Having spent the last hurricane myself in Quebradillas, Puerto Rico, while there to help family members in need, I can personally vouch for the tremendous value that DOE is bringing to the island. Muchísimas gracias por su atención y por estar aquí con nosotros. And I do dare say, muchas gracias needs no translation here.
Fred, hang up here for a little bit. Everybody needs to know that the reason we're here at the Department of Energy is because of this man right here, Fred. And And the secretary and the senator were absolutely right. We need folks inside that are connected to the community, and that's what he's done. He brought us in, he's done the outreach. And this is a very small token of our appreciation, Fred. This is an award saying that you're an outstanding public servant, and we really appreciate you here. So thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.